And we are live. So thank you
Fantastic.
very much, Henry, for joining today.
You're
Just
welcome.
to give everyone a little heads up of how this is going to be, my name is Ian Heffley, and I'm one of the admissions counselors here at SIT Study Abroad. My portfolio includes the Middle East and Eastern and Southern Africa. And I have Henry. I'll let you introduce yourself. If you tell me
Sure.
what program you are on, what semester, and what school you're from.
Well, my name is Henry Connect. I'm from the College of Worcester. I'm a rising senior, so I'll be a senior in a few weeks' time. I need to get ready for that. And I did the Tunisia program with SIT last year for the fall semester. Um, yeah.
Okay, well, again, thank you very much for joining us. I'm sure our prospective students will love to hear directly from you as well. Now, let's begin with some of the questions I sent you. Now, what is the main reason? I know study abroad has become quite popular for juniors in American universities. And what is the main reason that you chose your SIT program over another program or, say, another program that SIT has to offer?
Sure. Well, first of all, I started looking at a whole bunch of SIT programs. Very quickly, I decided that I wanted to do something that involved the integrated nature of the program. So the fact that there was a study abroad was definitely a big factor, but then also um, that there was the independent study project, the homestays, the language programs, and the way that everything tied together around a core theme, in this case, emerging identity in North Africa.
Can you go into the independent study project a little bit? What did you think of it before, as you and I were working together when you were going through the application process? How might that have changed? This is a three-part question.
Sure.
How might that have changed as you were going through the semester, and what are your thoughts about it after the fact, after you've presented and done your ISP in Tunis?
Well, while I was sort of preparing for it, um, it definitely felt a bit daunting at first, but you really had a lot of opportunity and time to really delve into the issue, um, interview actual Tunisians about what you're studying. I know a lot of people actually got to interview, including myself, government officials, party leaders, so really substantial people. People who worked in the embassy were very helpful to my project in particular. So the connections that you'll be able to get with your advisor for your program definitely make it very interactive, very engaging and enjoyable. Um, and I frankly had a great time actually doing it. I felt very good with my completed project, and it's definitely something that I like to have under my belt and show it around, brag when applicable.
So, do you see yourself using the topics you researched on your independent study project further in your career, perhaps for a senior thesis or graduate work?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my project was specifically regarding the effects that the travel warning had on, you know, the particularly the U.S. and then also the Tunisian foreign and domestic policy. So, what sort of coercive intent that could have, because the way that travel warnings are imposed around the world tends to not be totally rational. For example, Mexico doesn't have a travel warning, even though many places can be very dangerous for tourists and other individuals. Um, what I can see myself actually using next year is um, doing another independent study project that'll be uh, a bit larger because it will be done throughout the whole year, but one that focuses on the power dynamics involved in similar international relations.
And you were there while the travel warning was lifted, weren't you?
I was, and um, I never was particularly concerned about my safety while I was there, and that was actually one of the reasons why I found it particularly interesting, which is what piqued my interest. The fact that there was, a de-staffed embassy, except for like a skeleton crew, and that there was a lot of concerns that were expressed, especially to me from like relatives about the fact that there's a travel warning there, and I just went, felt totally safe, was not an issue, and that really actually interested me and led me to my project.
I'm very glad to hear that. So, if we can go a little further and think about during the independent study project, can you name any key skills, or what key skills did you gain during this part of the program, or the entire semester in general?
Sure. I'd have to say that the big thing that I really learned was how to interview people effectively. That was something I'd never really done before, and um, really any sort of school project. And so to just go out in the field and interview people just around Tunisia was definitely a skill that I'll take and apply to other things. Additionally, the skills you get working one-on-one with a very smart, very helpful advisor for the project, working on this big thing, crafting it on your own, discussing between them, definitely gives you a taste for what it's like to do independent study projects and other large-scale research um, activities that you'll probably wind up doing later in your academic or career life anyway.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Now, have you ever experienced or have you ever taken part in experiential learning before? And if so, or if not, uh, what may have appealed to you about the different aspect of the way SIT does its program?
Sure. At the end of the day, you're working with a relatively small group of students. It's not like a big university, and for in our group there was 7 in total. I know in some years there has been at least double that, but even then with 14 students you get to know everyone very well. And so what SIT Tunisia did, for our group at least, is created a lot of extracurricular programs, or in some cases supplemental to the regular curriculum, whereby we would just go out and use Tunisia as really a platform to learn and engage with the community, which is something that you really couldn't do sitting around in SIT headquarters in Citibu or back in the States especially.
Yeah, definitely. So it sounds like you really enjoyed getting out there and using the city or the entire country, because I do know you
Oh
guys
yeah.
leave the city, leave the capital city often.
Yes.
Now, what do you think you may have learned on SIT Tunisia that you may not have learned anywhere else? I know we touched upon how to really interview people, but that could also be available at a journalist school here in the States.
Right.
So if you could touch upon an aspect of what you learned there that you believe you may not have learned somewhere else, I'd appreciate it.
Sure. I mean, probably the big thing that immediately comes to mind is the culture of Tunisia, and then also an understanding just how that region of the world sort of operates. My background is in international affairs, so a lot of what I do focuses on the Middle East and North Africa, or comes about to it in some way or another. And so to actually have the experience to say I lived in Tunisia for 3.5 months really gives you a boost in terms of just your intrinsic understanding of how that part of the world operates, and then also specific cultural things that you start to pick up on and identify.
So it's definitely a hands-on experience that
Yeah,
gets you into the laboratory that is Tunisia.
definitely, definitely.
Excellent. Can you name a favorite aspect of the program for me?
I really loved I loved so many parts of the program. Um, I have to say I had a fantastic time with the language component of it. I came in there not knowing French in any real way, and I had no experience in Arabic whatsoever. And that I thought might be a bit daunting, but I went in anyway, and I was very happy about it. I wound up picking up Arabic surprisingly quickly. I wasn't proficient in any real way, but I was definitely able to communicate with people and gain just that much extra level of personal connection with the people who I was talking to, because you start in Aramaic, use up your introductory sentences, and then odds are they'll tend to switch to English because English is very well spoken there. But being actually in that environment was really cool. So learning just a language that was totally foreign and very difficult in an environment where I was able to pick it up very, very quickly was something I really liked about the program. And that was also really encouraged by the way that we were often sent out just into the city and surrounding area to accomplish tasks. I remember one of the first things we did is we were given a shopping list, and we were told to use our Arabic and French skills to get the items on the shopping list, and then we cooked traditional Tunisian lunch together. So, we were connecting as a group, we were interacting with the locals, we were improving our language skills, and we were exploring the city and just having a blast doing it.
And that was all to make some good food, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, and it was delicious.
I really enjoy the food from that area of the world, and hopefully we'll be eating it in Tunisia myself soon.
Oh, fantastic.
But so, did you live with a francophone or an Arabic-speaking homestay family?
My homestay family was Arabic speaking. They also happened actually to know French, but I tried to use my Arabic skills because that was the language I was using. And I have to say, I really enjoyed my homestay family. I had really a great time. What was particularly interesting is some of the people in the household didn't speak fluent English. They knew a little bit, and there was always someone around the house who would be able to translate if something was needed. But it definitely encouraged me to use the Arabic skills I had picked up and apply them in a real life scenario. And I mean, that was just an invaluable experience. I could have really only gotten in that part of the world.
I'm so happy to hear that. I'm very glad that it worked out so well for you. And I guess when you need to ask where the bathroom is, you learn how to say that really quickly in Arabic.
Very quickly.
Now, if you wanted to explain SIT Study Abroad to somebody who had no idea who we are, or they saw our name on a list with other study abroad providers, how would you describe it?
I would say that it's a very integrated experience. So I guess what sets it apart is that it's set up in such a way that there's not really a time where you're not learning. I mean, sure, there's times where you can relax, hang out with friends, explore Tunisia on your own. But the way it's really set up is you're always using the skills that you're gaining. And what's particularly nice is because it's at least in SIT Tunisia's case, it was heavily focused around the Arab Spring and what was going on there. So whenever we could, we would be, not even on purpose, just exposed to the fascinating political dimensions to Tunisia. And I think it's that integrated nature, the fact that it's so purposefully designed for the specific country that's being hosted in, makes it just a really unique experience that allows you to really learn and engage effectively in the to be on a short time you're there for.
Thank you very much for saying that. Now, we are coming to the end of this little interview. This time, I may be back to
Sure,
talk to you again, hopefully soon.
I love it.
Is there any final, are there any final words that you'd like to say, or if you could give some advice to a prospective student who's looking to go to Tunisia either this fall or next spring, what would you say?
Well, first of all, I'm glad that they're considering Tunisia. I know I had a great time. I'm sure they have a great time. Um, if you're really interested in improving your language skills, that's great. But I mean, I did not know French or Arabic, uh, only English, no second language, and I was fine. So that shouldn't be a barrier to your consideration. Um, and I think it's a really great country to study abroad in because it's got French, it's got Arabic, so it's got two languages you could really capitalize on. It's got a fascinating political dimension to it that is really, even today, historically, evolving and changing the landscape of North Africa and the Middle East. And so if that's what you're interested in, I definitely would recommend SIT Tunisia.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for taking some time this afternoon to speak with me. I will let you know when this interview is live, and we'll hopefully be chatting with you again soon.
Sounds great.
Bye.